Jonathan Jones is an unstoppable and unbeatable champion. Anyone would be lucky to defeat him. The question of whether he is the UFC GOAT has been for a very long time, and while some have said he isn't, I am here to tell you that Jones is, and will always be the UFC GOAT. If you want to know how, stay tuned till the end of this video, and see the things about Jones that will blow your mind completely. 35-year-old Jones has been in action in the UFC since 2008 and has been a sensation everyone wants to see. Jones debuted in the light heavyweight division before he moved into the heavyweight division and became who everyone is talking about today. Jones was born into a religious home growing up, and you can only imagine what was expected of him as a child. His father was a pastor, and indeed he wanted him to preach as well, but we can guess how that turned out eventually right. Jones was always good in wrestling since his high school days in New York before he went to college to study criminal justice, and eventually he dropped out to follow his passion right into MMA. Jones made his MMA debut in April 2008 and had an undefeated record of 6-0 in the first 3 months. He finished all his opponents before eventually debuting in the UFC in August 2008. Joining UFC, Jones dominated the light heavyweight division from 2008 until his exit in 2020, when he decided to take a 3-year hiatus from fighting. No fighter in UFC can boast of beating him by knockout, submission, or decision in any fight, and in a sport so wildly unpredictable like UFC, the only thing that has remained constant is Jon Jones' winning ways. Well, you must know that Jones has always been the GOAT in UFC for a long time. Because how can a man single-handedly dominate an entire division for 12 years without a single loss, and you refuse to acknowledge such legend because of issues outside of the octagon? Question Jones' character all you want, but this is truly a separate the art from the artist's situation, and the art created by Jones only belongs in the Louvre. Jon Jones has been an incredible fighter throughout his reign, and he has held records no one has come close to. He's very dominating, and seeing him in the octagon every time seems like a new time because of how much he evolves. He's good with takedowns and controlling his opponent's wrists. The American who holds the record of the youngest fighter to win a title still stands firm in the race, and you can only guess who that man is. Yes, Jon Jones. Jones first got his hands on UFC gold in March 2011 when he claimed the light heavyweight title with a stoppage win over Brazilian legend Mauricio Rua. He went on to win 13 title fights in the light heavyweight division, defeating the likes of Quinton Jackson, Rashad Evans, Lyoto Machida, Vitor Belfort, Alexander Gustafsson, Glover Teixeira, and Daniel Cormier. All these guys when they were in the primes of their fighting lives. These wins alone are enough to crown Jones as the GOAT of UFC, but his new win over Cyril Gane, after a 3 years hiatus, makes it even more difficult to deny than ever. Jones has the record to speak for himself, with a 27-1 MMA record, and any record you can think of setting. He has set it as he has the record for longest winning streaks of 18 times and 11 title defenses. Before the bout with Gane, everyone wondered how Jones would fare, especially after his break, since most fighters were usually rusty after taking such long breaks. An example of such a fighter is BJ Penn, who left the UFC with impressive records and came back after a long break only to destroy all his previous records with the new ones he made after his break. For Jones, he was not just returning to the UFC to fight in the same weight division we were used to seeing him in. Instead, he was moving up a weight class. He's a 35-year-old man who isn't too old for the heavyweight division, but not young for it either. Not only this, he was facing Cyril Gane, who is in the prime of his fighting career and very recently held the UFC interim heavyweight title, which Jones has never had. Jones's win is even more shocking, especially if you wander back at his lack of motivation for his last few fights at light heavyweight, which he won while looking like a shadow of his former self, nearly losing to men he would have demolished quickly. This fight was different in all ways because, for the first time in a long time, Jon Jones was Jon Jones. His 2-minute drubbing of Cyril Gane was a flawless victory, and Bones looked like himself for the first time since his fight with Alexander Gustafsson. It was a reminder of the awe-inspiring destructive power Jones was capable of whenever he felt he had something to prove. Maybe the fight took more than 13 seconds, like Conor versus Aldo, but it was electrifying as well, and that bout ended right before it even began. Jones has always teased about the heavyweight division, and he indeed came like he owned the place and had been in the division all his life. And the reality of his dream couldn't have played out more in his favor. Jones might not have been facing the actual #1 heavyweight champion in the world, but at least he was facing an interim champion in the same division, and the performance came with so much ease, despite his layoff from fighting. And this time, the king came back, just like he never left and without any dent to the fight, earning his victory as the king that he is. Jones has successfully avoided losing to any fighter in his career except himself. The only way to quantify a man having all wins and dents on his career due to illegal use of his elbow during a fight which earned him a disqualification and a victory that was turned into a no contest due to drug substance found in him is by calling him destructive to his career. But this does not change the fact that the only man which appears to be the only one that can defeat Jones is Jones himself. Jones has been outstanding throughout his career and has proved to be one of the most dynamic, innovative, and constantly evolving fighters in the history of MMA, and the greatest fighter to have ever stepped foot into the octagon. Before his break from the UFC, Jones had requested to fight the then UFC heavyweight champion, Francis Ngannou. Still, when denied this opportunity, he decided to take a break from the UFC, and he left his own light heavyweight title and returned to take the heavyweight championship he had always wanted. Only a true champion can ever pull this stunt. Jones has proved to remain relevant in his field and has shown that if he's not ready to take a step, he doesn't call for it. Although the call for who deserves to be GOAT might be subjective to different people, but the fact that Jones deserves to be GOAT in UFC is something that all should really consider, especially those that choose to only look at the spoils that have come in his career without considering his wins. Before I go, I will leave with you a few things that remind us of how great Jones is. The first is that no fighter, I repeat, no fighter, has been able to take the record of youngest fighter for over a decade that Jones got that record. Secondly, Jones became the #1 MMA fighter in 2012 and the #2 as greatest MMA fighter of the year of all time as well. He has had impressive runs ever since getting awards from 2013 through 2019. Without dwelling so much on the past, Jon Jones is currently the best MMA light heavyweight fighter and now the best MMA heavyweight fighter. Jones is also the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in MMA currently. Jones has shown the world why he is the GOAT and why he will always be GOAT. I am guessing you all are waiting for him to take Stipe Miocic down before you affirm this position and title. Well, just wait a bit more and let Jones do the wonder he always does by defeating whatever is in his way. This time, that whatever will be Stipe, putting a stamp on his heavyweight title forever. Did you enjoy this video? If you did, kindly like and subscribe to our channel so we can bring you more intriguing UFC contents like this. Until next time, do take care and stay safe.